Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Otts here. It's Monday morning, and we are reacting to All Stars game yesterday, the 75th NBA All-Star Game, which was a USA versus World format, and also the G League Rising Stars Up Next challenge that featured some Raptors earlier in the day, also. So we're reacting to both events and just the All-Star weekend in general afterwards. So yeah, the Stars team won, the younger American team won, and Scottie was victorious. Scottie had a great time. Scottie looked pretty good. He was a active player. You know, the All-Star game was better. They actually were trying, and it was somewhat it was an uptick. It was a better game for sure, but I don't think it was because of the format. I think it was because of Victor. Maybe Victor and Scottie, those two guys. And, other people that were trying too because of Wemby starting to try. So Wemby tries, Wemby's going all out, Wemby's embarrassing people. People get motivated, and then there's competition. I think Victor Wembanyama is the new face of the league. I think that he did stuff in the All-Star game yesterday that was very impressive, whether it's some of the threes, whether it's just the way he can cover ground and block shots, whether it was just like him being a competitor and bringing it to the game. In some ways, that's what that game needs, is somebody like him to be the lightning rod of drawing out real competition. Kobe used to do that. Kobe used to do that for the All-Star. He was quality assurance. He was quality control. He was the guy who came out there and made sure, the fans got a real game where people are actually trying. And well, Victor's that now. And Scott, well, because of the way Scottie plays, he fits this whole idea of like doing whatever it takes to win and not worrying about how you look, not being lazy. So he's out there doing all the stuff he would do for the Raptors out on the court as far as defensive plays, passing, just being all over the place and playing with energy and just trying to make the next winning play. And he did that. He did a pretty good job. He had a game winner in the first game of the All-Star game and won the game in overtime, beating Darko's team. And that was impressive. In some ways he did that, and then they kind of like glossed over it for the rest of the game in some ways. But De'Aaron Fox had a game winner too, or something. There's a lot going on in these games, and there was different people rising up at different times and doing amazing things in different games. In the first game, it really was Wemby's game. Wemby was impressive. He was the leading scorer, and he was just doing the most. But the Stars team gutted it out and won in overtime on a Scottie three, and that was pretty impressive. And I was upset because I wanted the world team to win, but also at the same time, I was kind of like, well, at least Scottie hit the shot, and he looks good for it because Scottie did look good. He did look good. Then they had the Stars versus the Stripes with Brandon coming out with that older team, and this was very on purpose. They got to let the old guys play all their time in a row. They can't freeze up and sit out for too long. So that's why they put the Stripes as the winner, the player of the winner, because they have to play their games in a row. Just trust me. They just need to. They just need to. So the game they're going to sit out, they get it out of the way right away. And well, the Stripes team beat the Stars team in that game. It was really kind of like, okay, youngsters, you want to try and beat us? We're still LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Brandon Ingram, and the crew. Brandon didn't really score. He wasn't really getting a lot of looks. You know, Also, our Raptor guys weren't getting played as much in some ways because neither one of them started. And, they were kind of coming in off the bench. Brandon didn't play hardly any minutes in some of the games, and he just didn't score. He didn't score in any of the games. Scottie got some points here and there, though, and that was pretty good. We saw the Darko timeout, the classic Darko timeout when one team was going off on them. Dark a little bit of his signatures here and there. I found it really cool that right off the bat, Team World went straight to Wembanyama at the rim. That was cool. Right off the bat, right away off the jump ball. There's Victor at the rim scoring the first points of the All-Star game, which was very, very cool. Yeah, I don't know. I think the game was good. If I had to grade the All-Star game, I give it an A because I felt like it did what it's supposed to do as far as it showcased the best talent in the league, and it also had some competition. It had some interesting highlights, but I don't think the format is right still. I think 3 teams is too awkward and that, they'd be better off, you know, you don't need to do a weird format to get competition, Adam Silver. You just need Wemby to be the lightning rod. I think that's what it is at this point. I think that if you went back to East versus West in a classic 4-quarter, 12 minutes a quarter uh setup, you would find the competitions there for that too. It's just, maybe there's more opportunities for fun hijinks because there's 4 games and there's 4 buzzer beaters, but you have buzzer beaters at the end of quarters. I don't know. I mean, in some ways, Victor is your quality control now, and you should thank him for the good All Star game yesterday. I thank him. I don't think it was the USA versus world format. That's not why these guys got up against each other. It wasn't the bragging rights of USA versus the world or anything like that. That nationalism in some ways that it's trying to put that out there. Yeah, that wasn't what it is. That wasn't what this was. No, it wasn't. It was more just like let's have pride and let's play with competition. And that's what Victor was doing. Of course, the outcome of the All-Star game with the 2 USA teams in the final and the world team on the outside looking in, that just is more support for xenophobic rhetoric about the state of basketball and international basketball. And in some ways, that was formed and calculated. That they put the world team in their last matchup with the wall on the other side of all the free throws. And that's annoying. There's a built in advantage in the Clippers arena with that fan zone. And they can game it in certain ways to make it really hard for with that team that's going that way on defense for free throws and all kinds of stuff because it is annoying. It's a distraction. It is a home advantage. And the NBA can manipulate outcomes by putting a certain team going that direction in those all-star games. You know, there's all kinds of goofy stuff I could go over about. There's also the whole fact that the world team didn't really have their best players at all. Giannis didn't play, SGA didn't play, and Luca and Nikola caught in for a hot cup of coffee just to appear, and then they didn't play at all for the rest of the day either. So it was really kind of like, Siakam, Sengun, Powell, Wemby, Jamal Murray, Denny, those guys were playing and representing the world, and they're good players, but they aren't Giannis, SGA, Nikola, and Luca. And it's not like Luca's going to try anyway. So it's like that's part of it too. It's like that's not a true gauge of the world all stars. If you don't have Giannis and SGA playing, you can't gauge this matchup correctly. You can't. You just can't. So, I mean, overall, I say the All Star weekend was a success for the game. I don't know if the weekend overall was a success, but partly because of the empty seats and just just the tiredness of the events. But the game was good. The game was good. The events were tired and kind of stale, but the game was good. I think that the game successfully came through, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It was a goofy night, a goofy weekend of All Star. And Steve Ballmer epitomized it when he started going crazy during the middle of the game on the microphone. This is the greatest event ever. This is the greatest organization ever. All this crazy shit he's saying, going all crazy. Of course, he said, I love number 2. And that was the thing in that game with Kawhi versus the world in the third game. That was interesting. Kawhi went crazy. Kawhi went off, and scored a lot. But it's interesting how he could go off like that, have the most dominant performance in the All-Star game, and his team doesn't win, so he doesn't get the MVP. Yeah, in some ways that's calculated by the NBA also, guys. It's like, no, we can't have Kawhi win. I mean, he can have a good showing. He can do good. It's the home crowd and it's the home arena, Intuit Dome, but he shouldn't win because we don't want him to have MVP. And then we're going to turn around and sanction Balmer and Leonard for aspiration. This is publicity. It doesn't look good. And there may be some question about which one of the USA stars should have won MVP. Like which one of those guys? I mean, Maxey had a case for a little bit there because he went off. He went off for a section there and really kind of broke the Stripes team. That was the other thing is like the old guys ran out of gas, and in the last game, the young players just ran them off the court and doubled them up, and that was not a competitive or good game. That was the old All-Star game in the last game, and that didn't look as good. That didn't look as good when the youngsters just ran them off the court. Yeah, they looked old at that point. I mean, was that symbolic of the young generation, Scott's team, taking over from the old generation, the Stripes team? That y'all are too old. You can't run up and down the court in the fourth game. We won. We're the All-Star champions, the winners. Scottie loved it, man. He was the one who picked up the trophy first. Like, he's just like that. He's like, oh, it's heavy, guys. It's heavy. Oh, it's heavy. He's carting it around, holding it. All these great pictures of Scottie holding the All-Star championship trophy. Yeah, very, very cool. I'm glad Scottie got that experience, and he felt good. In his interview after the game, he said he had a lot of fun and that, he was just trying to play the right way while he was out there. He didn't do anything other than what he does for the Raptors normally. He's just, I got to play the right way and try and do the right stuff. He was really trying to set up Chet Holmgren. There's a while in there that he's just trying to get assists to Chet and so set him up. I mean, I can go over the box score, but the format's so stupid that it's like, how do you go over like 4 different games and look at this and that? It's just like, I'm not trying to do no work to consolidate all these and look at all the stats. I mean, I could look at each game if you guys want me to and kind of go over each one, but it's like, why? We saw it. It's not like it's a standardized 48-minute, 12-minute, 4-quarter game. And it's like, how do that's the other thing that I hate about this format is because over time periods, you cannot compare a lot of these recent All-Star games because their formats have been so screwy and weird. It's like you can't compare Magic Johnson's All-Star stats in the 80s to some of these current players because all their All-Star games are all goofy and weird and crazy. And you're not getting a full All-Star game kind of like time. You know what I mean? Like that's part of the reason why in some ways you want to stick to your rules is because you want continuity in metrics of analyzing, comparisons of players over ages and different times. You can't do that if you're going to do these hokey multiple team tournaments for the All-Star weekend, Adam Silver. You can't do that. You got to have 2 teams of 15 in the new era and play a regular game. Play just a regular game. Even the Elam ending for the Rising Stars and other games, it's just been kind of It's just like, people winning on free throws, that kind of stuff. I don't know. Either way, the All-Star game gets an A from me. I give it an A. Seriously, I thought it was a good game. The first 3 games were good. The last game was, a little bit of what's wrong with the old All-Star game, All right, let me get into y'all's chat and see what y'all are saying this morning. We'll do the straight goods on Canadian goods, the Instagram stories, the classic card, all the daily Raptor Freak rituals will be coming. That's right. All right, let me see what's going on here with Trevor J. His words of wisdom. Life humbles you as you age. You realize how much time you wasted on nonsense. Yeah, you know what? I don't believe in this one either. I think that everything you do is important, whether you feel like it's wasted or not, or it's nonsense. I think that even the most boring, mundane things, if somebody could say, oh, you didn't do anything. Yeah, I did. You don't even know what I did, though. That's the thing. Who's to say what is mundane and wasted and nonsense? Some of the things that are actually nonsense are actually fine. That's the thing. There's too much judgment in this. There's too much conditioning in this. Society conditions us to be wage slaves and to go out there and bust our ass and do all this stuff. And you could say, "Oh, you wasted your time. You didn't do this and this time. You should have done that." Well, who's to say what the fuck you were supposed to be doing? Maybe you were supposed to be recharging. Maybe you're supposed to have that quiet, still time. Our society today is pushing us too much to be kinetic and out there and going. And in some ways, stillness is what this world needs more of. They need more people just pondering and meditating and getting right with their energy. That's what we need more. But they agitate us. They push us to have to do things financially to stay alive. And that's the thing, man. What is the concept of time in the first place? What is wasting time, Trevor? What is wasting time? Time is an illusion in the first place. See, I'm a whole other level beyond this world at this point. And this is conditioning right here, my guy. How much time you wasted on nonsense? What is even to say what is nonsense? You do whatever you do with your life. It's your life. Live it your way you want to. Because if they tell you how you should have lived your life, that's conditioning. That's conditioning. And listen, in some ways, the more you decondition yourself from the lies and the bullshit and the system that they set up for you to live in, the freer and happier you are. It's the truth. It's the truth. There you go. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. Blessings to the Jones family and all the Raptor Freak families. In some ways, you could flip this and say, yeah, I wasted my life going to my 9 to 5 every fucking day and wasting my life working for the man. That's nonsense in some ways right there. Yeah, Trevor J saying this, watching Darko speak in Spanish in his after All-Star Game interview, I was shocked and happy at the same time to know Raptors head coach can speak a different language. He can speak a few languages. Yeah, I wasn't shocked by that. I knew he could speak Spanish fluently because of his time coaching in Spain. You know, Darko, after his Serbian youth coaching period, where he started his career in Serbia, coaching youth. He was a youth coach. He wasn't coaching men. He was coaching children when he started his basketball career in his early 20s. You know, his second step was to Spain. That was when Gaga left her legal job in Serbia and they made the leap to go into Darko's career. And well, he had to go to school in Spain to be able to coach in Spain. He had to, there's a university to be certified to coach in basketball in Spain. You have to go to a class and you have to take it and you got to get a license to be a coach. So how is Darko going to do that if you don't speak Spanish? So he had to learn Spanish to be able to do that and to be able to be a coach in the premier basketball coach league of Spain. So that's why, man, he spent a good chunk of his years in Spain coaching and, you know, he had to learn the native language. So, yeah, he still knows that Spanish. But, yeah, it was impressive to hear him do that after the game. That was. I agree with you. I totally was like, okay, he's speaking Spanish. I was like, that's not Serbian. That's not Serbian he's talking right there. That sounds like Spanish to me. And that's what it was. That's right. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Trevor's saying Scottie helped his team to win at All-Star Game last night. Yeah, he did. He did. Like I said, Wemby was the catalyst. He was the person that pushed the game to competitiveness. But Scottie was the like insulation to help with that too. You know, because Scottie, you know, he gets out there. He didn't start, but once he got out there, he's playing the same way he would play for the Raptors. He's not holding anything back. He's doing exactly what he could do, and he's up and down the court. In fact, watching the Stars team, at times they were mimicking the Raptors getting up and down the court real fast, and Scottie would push it, and Anthony and Cade would be holding him back. It was like, bro, have you guys played the Raptors, right? Both y'all beat us, right? Timberwolves and Pistons. Y'all see how up-tempo we are. Scott wants to push it. Go run with him. Push the ball up the court. No, Anthony Edwards, you slowing it down? No, Scottie wants to push it. He's looking for you up the court. He's going to be throwing it to you. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. You know, the Stars team, you know, they had a lot of good young talent. And, well, you know, JB Bickerstaff is the coach. So what's he going to do? He's going to start his two Pistons and play them and try and make them more prominent. Jalen Duren and Kate Cunningham. It would have been cooler if you had started Scottie instead of Jalen, but I guess you can't really do anything about that, JB, because you're a Pistons coach and that's your Pistons center, and you're gonna stick with your guys. Yeah, I get that. In some ways, Scottie should have started. It's annoying that he didn't start. In some ways, I shouldn't care. It's like, what? Starting doesn't matter, Lex. You always said that. Dennis Schroeder, Gary Trent Jr. Starting doesn't matter, Lex, whether Scott starts or not. Well, in some ways, it's annoying because honestly, he's a more important all-star than some of those guys who started for teams stars. He's a more important all-star than Jalen Duren. Let's just put it that way. Let's see. Fiercey's here. Good morning, Fiercey. Good morning, fam, and happy Monday. Great words of wisdom, Trevor J. Paying attention to nonsense is time-consuming and counterproductive. Yeah, well, who's to say what is nonsense? Who's to say what is important in this life? Just because they told us what is important? That's the whole thing, man. You got to get into a whole other philosophical realm about the whole idea about conditioning and how society conditions us. How, in some ways, I could say this words of wisdom is like some sort of ploy by the bosses to say, don't waste your time. Come and work for me. And if you don't, well, you wasted your time. Who's to say what's wasting time, Fiercey? Is time sitting on the couch with your daughter watching a TV show that's probably like not very educational or anything? Is that a waste of time? No, that's bonding time with your daughter. With time sitting on a phone playing a goofy game at your house, is that a waste of time? No, maybe you need that recharge. Maybe you need a break from thinking about all these things. This is just in some ways when you put some sort of characteristic on your behavior or your time, that's conditioning telling you to do that. Is anybody telling the squirrel out there, oh, you're wasting your time, bro, because you didn't go get more nuts? What is this? Seriously. I don't see this like this, y'all. That's the difference. See, in some ways, this is, and I'm in another place already than you guys in some ways. And I want everybody to be there with me. Seriously, I do. Fierce is saying this, Scottie definitely helped, and I'm glad his team won as his highlight carries more value than De'Aaron Fox's. However, I was rooting for Darko and Team World had they all played like Wemby. Yeah, Wemby was really mad at the end of the first game, and it was Denny's fault. Fucking dumbass. In some ways, that dude should have never been on the all-star team. Seriously. But yeah, he fucking dumbass. Like, why is he guarding and coming down to double with Wemby at the basket? You should have been out there guarding Scott. Denny, you dumbass. I would be mad if I was Victor too, because it's just stupidity. It's just like idiots. Like, look, read the room. Are you an NBA player? Do you understand the parameters of the rules? Do you understand that you're not supposed to give them a 3 because they can win on a 3? You can give them a 2. You can give Jalen Duren a 2, but you're not supposed to give him a 3. An idiot comes and collapses in the lane, and there's 2 open shooters outside. One of them, Scott. He makes it. Yeah, I'd be mad if I was Victor too, because he was super competitive. He wanted to win, but he was out there with jabronis that were casual and not paying attention, or maybe just not very smart. Like, is this guy stupid or something? Like, why the fuck did you collapse, Denny? You dumbass. Like, it was his fault, specifically. That dude. Because it was his assignment and his place. And he, like, I'm going to collapse and give them a 3. And they only need a 3 to win. It's so stupid, man. It's totally his fault. It's totally that guy's fault. I was rooting for World, too. But when the World played the Stripes, Kawhi went crazy. And Darko talked about this after the game. He said, yeah, when Kawhi was going off, I was just trying to search the bench to try and figure out who I could try and put on him to slow him down, because he was a problem. Kawhi gave us the little sampler platter of all the powerful things he can do on the court, whether it's his crazy threes, whether it's him even stealing the ball at times, some of the cool drives to the basket. Yeah, he was on it. He was doing it. And in some ways, as a Raptors fan, that was fun. But also in some ways, it's also like, yeah, I don't root for him like I should, though. Like, it's weird. I want to root for Kawhi, but I can't. In some ways, I'm like, yeah, this guy's a douche. And the announcers saying stuff like, this is the greatest year of Kawhi's career right now. I'm like, motherfucker, that's bullshit. This is not his best year of his career. That's not true. That guy's not going to win no championship this year. And if he doesn't win a championship, it's not his best year. He's got 2 years that he won a championship in. And one of them, he was the finals MVP. And, actually, I think was he both? Either way. But one of them, he was for sure in his best year. and that was in the Raptors jersey. Yeah, it's goofy, man. Fiercely saying easy win. Thank you, Wemby, for putting in the effort and make it somewhat enjoyable to watch. Yeah, I do appreciate that by him. And really, Adam Silver, you should be kissing Wemby's ass because he is the catalyst. He is the one, and he's the only one that could have done this. It's just because of how powerful he is with his 7'5" frame and just what he can do. I was impressed with Wemby's strength. There were times where he was bringing the ball up, and he had very strong players like LeBron James trying to rip the ball out of his hands, and they couldn't grab it out of his hands. I was really impressed because he's so skinny and long. He's got deceiving strength. Like he was in the middle there mixing it up, and he'd bring the ball up, and they'd try to strip him, and he brought it right up and put it in still. So that's very impressive by Wembanyama. You know, who was it that was talking about eating dinner with him and getting to know him? They're saying that Victor's like a 50-year-old man. He's not like a young guy. He's really wise beyond his age, and he's very mature, and he's very like he has his idea of like how he's going to be in this world even as such a young man. It's crazy. Sometimes there's just these old souls that come in this world, like Fred VanVleet's another one of them. It's like these guys are young. They may be like 20 and they're in the NBA, but they are like vets and they're just like really kind of like mature and like old thinking. Like they're just different. They're just built different. And Victor's like that. Fred was like that before. Fred got thrust into that because of a traumatic childhood that he had to grow up fast when he was a little kid and do that. I wonder what Victor's reason is. Maybe it's just that he comes packaged that way in his human design, that he is just a sage person that's wise beyond his years. I don't know, man, because in some ways he's not into the same things that a person his age would be into, like going to Tibet and being a Buddhist monk and studying with the monks for the summer. That's what I'm talking about. Stillness. Is that a waste of time? Was that nonsense for Victor Wembanyama to go and sit and do nothing with some ball guys in a mountain? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Fiercely saying this. NBA put in team stripes later, backfired. They were tired. Yeah, they were going to run out of gas either way at some point. I mean, that's the whole thing. Kevin was making fun of the world team. I wonder if they'll play defense. Man, y'all better hope that y'all have enough gas to play defense yourselves, team stripes. Seriously, man. But yeah, you know, I feel like this may have been the passing of the torch, guys. That this is LeBron's generation handing it over to the next generation in this All-Star game yesterday. There's some very strong symbolism in this. If the NBA still wanted to hold that generation of LeBron and Kevin as the top dogs, well, they would have orchestrated them to win. But no, the Stars won instead. They blew them out. They ran them off the court. They were too tired and they didn't have the energy. Tyrese Maxey busted them open with a steal and a three. And then all of a sudden they were doubled up. And the last game is like, okay, we're not trying anymore. This is we're doing a impression of the last couple of years of the All-Star game now. You know, it's like that. G's here. Good morning to G. It was mostly good. One team playing 3 games is a disadvantage. Yes, it's only 3 quarters total, but still isn't a level playing field. Maybe best 2 out of 3 next year, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, there's 4 games, 4 quarters, and you know, 2 of the teams have to play 3, and one of them plays 2. The team that didn't make it. Yeah, I don't know. The odds were stacked against the world, and in some ways, like I said, this can give evidence to some people's theories that the USA is just totally dominant in basketball still, and nobody's even close. And that's part of this, the outcome of yesterday. And some people probably try and say that today. I don't know, man. Once again, I'll remind you, SGA and Giannis did not play. And that's a totally different game if those 2 guys are out there. Jamal Murray pissed me off. He was not taking things seriously again. Kind of like Paris Olympics. I don't know what it is with him. Like he gets in these high profile games or something like that. Maybe it's his nervousness or something manifesting. But man, he sucks in these high profile games and he starts missing all over the place. And I'm just like, I mean, Murray, come on, bro. You're representing the world. You're representing Canada. Do better, my guy. Whenever you're representing the world or Canada, you're flaky, is what I've realized. And in some ways, you did get going for a second in one of the games, But otherwise, man, I was really disappointed in Jamal Murray's game and how he's doing out there. Yeah, Siakam was good. I like what Siakam did out there. I thought that he was active and he was cleaning up garbage. Some people mess up. He was getting some scores here and there. Powell, he took some shots. He didn't make a lot of shots, but he did what he did. I mean, we could go look at the box score. Go look at the box score. Stargate's here. Good morning, Stargate. Trash. Respect to Wemby and Pascal for putting in the effort and taking it seriously. Other than that, that's last game between the Stars and the Stripes was utter garbage. Can't wait to get back to business on Thursday. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Covering this All-Star weekend has not been the most exciting content. We're talking about it on this channel, and I will be happy to get back to Raptors games too. Yeah. Put Scottie in that list too. Scottie put in a lot of effort in the All-Star game yesterday, and he was a competitor out there, and he was an X factor. In some ways, he was doing a lot of the glue stuff to help teams stars win. Like a lot of the stuff, the unsung stuff, like getting rebounds and playing some defense, closing out on people trying to shoot shots. This stuff Scotty was doing, and it was helpful. He did have a couple of steals and blocks here and there also, which was quite good, quite good. Yeah. G's saying this: the last game was a blowout because the old heads went all out against World and let the youth walk right into it. Glad Scotty won, so it's all good. To me, he was the most impactful player. Yeah, I felt like he was impactful. I mean, there's different moments where different guys were impactful. Kawhi, obviously, Maxi for a little bit there. Anthony Edwards won the MVP. Now, how do y'all feel about that? I feel like the Anthony Edwards MVP was preordained. It's like, all right, there's three teams. If whichever team wins, we're gonna have a guy we're gonna favor to give the MVP to. And Victor would have been the guy for World, obviously. Maybe on the Stripes team, depending on who showed up the most, like LeBron or Kevin. And then, it was probably Anthony Edwards was the only choice for the Stars. It's not like they want to give it to Scottie. It's not like they want to give it to, I don't know, maybe Cade could have jumped up and done something. But Edwards is the guy they want to. And I was so shocked. Edwards did like an interview in the middle of the game where he dropped an F-bomb right in the middle of All-Star Weekend in the arena. And like they had to bleep him out, but he was also on the mic in the arena, which is crazy. Yeah, this is your face of the league. He's not even media trained to know not to cuss when he's like in the middle of the broadcast of the All-Star game. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, he's real. And in some ways I respect him. In some ways I like him, but he's not the face of the league, Adam Silver, because you're going to have a really bad face of the league if you make it Anthony Edwards. That dude is just not dependable in the way that Ja Morant isn't dependable. You don't know what the fuck he's going to say or what he could do to make your league look bad. And that's the whole thing about carrying that baton after Michael and LeBron. You're going to face the league. You need them to be a role model. You need them to be somebody that will represent the league at the best standard. And that's why Anthony Edwards ain't going to be it. No. Nah, I mean, you're better off with Victor. It seems naturally that it's Victor because Victor, in some ways, is the right kind of person. In some ways, is part of what I just described. The old soul in him makes him the right kind of person, even if he's French and even if he's not American. Yes, GA is another good candidate. He'd be great for this too because he's just got the right style. He's got the right, he's just a good person. He's a good role model. He's a really good role model, and he's well spoken. And you could probably trust him to represent the league at the highest level in any situation. So that's what you got to look for if you really want to preordain your next league face of the league. Scotty's another good choice. He's the best American choice, in my opinion. But I don't know if you'll do that for a guy who plays for Toronto. I don't know if you'll do that. Yeah. G saying, okay, I read that one already. Nameless is here. He's got the cups out. All right, Nameless. G saying blocks, steals, points, screens, game winner. Ant is definitely a beast, and Wemby a true competitor. Pascal needed more touches. He was able to convert points. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Let's go look at it. Why not? We'll just go look at it for a second. First of all, I'm going to look at the box score for the first game, World versus Stars, where Scottie hit the overtime three-pointer to win. Yeah, Victor had 14 points in 10 minutes in that first game. 4 of 5 shooting, and Cat had 10 off the bench. Now, this is an interesting thing. Cat was fantastic in this game, shooting threes and going to the basket. In fact, he was overpowering with some of the three shots that he shot suddenly. But boy, did he disappear in the end. It's almost like he was a plant, an American guy on the world team, not playing defense at the end of the game and screwing them over against Team Stripes. Yeah, that was fishy as hell. And what's this whole thing, Brunson versus Towns thing? That was dumb, man. Because in some ways, Carl Anthony Towns, if Jalen Brunson's going to be guarding you, you better take him to the post. Like, what are you doing, bro? And well, I don't trust Carl Anthony Towns because he played really good in the first game, got some points, and made it look like he's trying. And then later, he didn't try at all, and he was absolutely ineffective on defense. And in some ways, he sunk the world team. Yeah, cat. In some ways, that was annoying. Siakam got 4 points in the first game out there, and yeah, he was 2 for 4 shooting. Yeah, on the other side, Scottie scored 3 points, that three-pointer to win the game at the end with 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, a steal, and a block. He was filling that stat sheet. Anthony Edwards got 13 points in the first game of the All-Star game. So, yeah, let's go to the second game now. We go to Stars versus Stripes, where Stripes won. And in this one, Edwards got 11 points. So he got another double-digit effort. Scottie got 2 points in this one with 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 turnover, and 1 steal. Yeah, and that one they lost by 2 points to the Stripes. You know, once again, starting Duran, I was like, man, you should be starting Scottie, man. In this game, Jaylen Brown had 11 points for the Stripes team. He had some nice dunks. Like, he was getting elevation and throwing it down. You know the whole controversy with Jaylen Brown this weekend, right? He tried to have an event on Saturday night in Beverly Hills at a person's house, and the cops shut it down. The cops came and said, you can't have this event. He spent $300,000 to make this event, and this event was a really good event. This was an event about leadership and culture, and Black culture specifically, and the police were targeting it, and they shut it down. They didn't let it allow it to happen, which is messed up. Because in some ways, this is kind of the outside work outside the NBA that Jaylen Brown's doing that's humanitarian and kind of for like society being better, whether it's like his project with Black Wall Street. And yeah, he's saying nobody else of the All Stars that had events this weekend was targeted like this except for me. And I feel pointed out. Some people are saying it's a Boston Lakers thing. Like he's LA, he's in LA for this All-Star, and he's a Boston player, and that's why the cops came and shut down and stuff. It's a weird controversy. In some ways, I don't trust it. In some ways, I don't any kind of suppression of events and things like that by law enforcement. I'm skeptical of, and in some ways, I don't trust it. And especially if the Jaylen Brown event was going to be something good for awareness and culture and leadership for the future is what the subject was. So that's a weird situation there. Brandon was 0 for 3 in this game with 5 minutes. He did get 2 rebounds and an assist, but yeah, he didn't score in this thing, which was annoying. Kawhi only got 5 in this one. Yeah, LeBron was interesting out there. He was having fun. And Kevin Durant, of course, these guys are very top level players. In the third game, it was the World versus the Stripes. This is the game where Kawhi went off, and he got 31 points. That's insane, man. 11 of 13 shooting for Claw, 6 of 7 from 3. That's crazy, but he scored 31 points in 12 minutes, y'all. Seriously, that points per minute. I mean, they were giving the ball over and over again, and in some ways, he was just putting the ball in. You know, he had 2 steals in that game also, is +3. Yeah, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. Brandon got 1 rebound in this game, in this one. On the other side, Victor had 19 and was 6 of 8, 2 of 3 from 3. But alas, it was too little too late. And he tried to make that 3 at the end to tie it at the top of the key, and it just went out. That wasn't there was some really poor shot selection for Team World at times. Like Sengun taking a shot that he shouldn't, you know, Murray bobbling, doing stupid stuff. Yeah, there was some problems with Team World not being the most effective with their possessions. Like, you have such a talented team. You should be scoring every time down the floor. But some of y'all shot selection and some of the things y'all decided to do were not the right decisions. Siakam got 6 in this game. He was 3 for 3 with 3 rebounds and assists and a turnover in this one. Jamal Murray, 8 points on 3 of 7 shooting. This is where he finally got kind of scoring in here. And Norman got 5 in this one. Norman got 5 points in this one. He actually went to the free throw line in that game. The final game of the night was Stars versus Stripes rematch. And this time the Stars blew out the Stripes 47-21. That is really bad. Really, really bad. Now, in the last game, Edwards got 8 points, but Maxey had more points. He had 9. Yeah, that's what I was saying, man. In some ways, not that I want a Sixer to get the MVP, but like there was kind of possibilities that somebody else on this team could have gotten it. I mean, who would be the top candidates on Team Stars other than Edwards, Maxey, and Scottie? Probably, yeah. They're not going to give recognition to Scottie for his underlying glue guy work, doing all kinds of stuff around there. So, I mean, it makes sense they gave it to Edwards. I guess it makes sense. He did have pretty good scoring in all the games. He did average double digits in each of the games. So, yeah, that's the All-Star box score. It's goofy, man. Leonard only got 1 point in the last game. You got 31 in that game, and then you got 1 point in the final game where things matter the most. But yeah, that's the going over the box scores of the All-Star game. Just looking at a couple things. Yeah, I thought Siakam did good. I thought Siakam looked good. Yeah, he showed up. I thought he showed up too. Isaac's got me on blast. Hello, Isaac Kimball. Good morning to you. G Sam, maybe you too to you, but some people liked it, and that's okay too. Yeah, I mean, I thought the game was okay. The game was okay. I'm not trying to bash the All-Star game. I just think the format's not right still. It's just goofy with 3 teams and the way it plays out. I think it's goofy. I think that like I said, a 12-minute 4-quarter game is the right format. Even Scottie said something like that after the game. He said, in some ways I would prefer a full game is what he said. But in some ways, it was fun. It was to get out there and mix it up and kind of run around on there. I mean, I get it. Maybe the distribution of minutes is still the same over a format like this as a 12-minute 4-quarter game, because it's just you're not going to be out there the whole time anyway. I don't know. Either way, I like the idea of it being able to be compared over the ages. And that's why I think that this format, these weird formats they keep coming out with every single year are just not working. Keep it simple. Stop making it so complicated. It's an all-star game, not an all-star tournament. Yeah. Let's see. Kesper's here. Good to see the fact checker. Obviously, the first 3 games were the best. I don't know what the heck the last game was. I was so pissed off at the old heads of Team Stripes that BI didn't get subbed in again. Yeah, they didn't play him again at the end. Look, in some ways we're proud of making appearances and getting the titles and just getting to it. In some ways that's what matters. The All-Star weekend is just a showcase. I think Kevin Durant's statements on it about how people are over criticizing it and missing the point of what it is in some ways rings true. In some ways what Infamous was saying to me yesterday, it was getting me upset. It rings true. This is not an event for me. This is an event for kids. This is an event for an international audience. But also, at the same time, as Kevin Durant said, it's like, what is the whole point of this? This is for the league to get together, have a celebration, to showcase the stars, and that's really all that it matters. What do you expect, Raptors Freak? What do you want? Are you gonna have the magic of Magic and Isaiah and all them from before? No, you're not. You're not going to get Michael Jordan ever again. It's just how it is. I thought it was kind of cool that they had Bob Costas out there at the beginning of the show talking because, of course, he's got an iconic voice, and he did a really good job. He's up there, man. And then getting Round Ball rocking out with John Tesh of Entertainment Tonight out there. That was, I guess that's the part of the show that's for me, the old guy. He's like directing and doing all this stuff. I'm like, man, come on now. Acting like you're doing something out there. Come on now. You're just playing the track. Press play and then just go like he's playing it. Man, come on now. All right, let's see. All right, let's keep going. Fiercely saying this, Anthony Edwards openly said Wemby set the tone. He also said Luka and Nikola didn't play hard. To Nikola's defense, he had a brace on his hand. Yeah, both those guys are hurt. I mean, Luka fell off the court of Cleveland like in the last 2 weeks, right? You seen that clip where Luka fell off the elevated court in Cleveland and hurt himself? So crazy. Like, I'm serious. Like, only Cleveland with their weird ass haunted opera for their G League team and then their fucking elevated court. Like, you're asking for trouble here. Like, this is so weird. Why do you have it that way, Cleveland? Seriously. That seems dangerous. Adam Silver, step in here and fix this court that's up a step. Like, that don't seem like it's smart. Like, seriously, it don't seem smart. Yeah, I wasn't expecting much from those guys. But once again, that's part of like the whole thing. It's like you're not the world stars without the top 4 stars playing all out and being in there. You can't gauge where the world's at when there's no Giannis, no SGA, and Luca and Nikola are basically making an appearance and sitting out the rest of the game. Yeah, you can't gauge that. You cannot gauge this. You got the creme de la creme. The best American players are definitely out there and playing, but the world players weren't there. They weren't there. They didn't show up. In some ways, SGA was above it. I don't know. It was cool to see SGA there, and he's a good dude, man. Yeah. Man, it's crazy. All right, let's keep going. Kester is saying Scottie was impactful for team stars, even without the shooting, rebounds, and steals. For sure. For sure. He's a big reason why they won. For sure. He was doing all the stuff. He wasn't doing the scoring, but he's doing everything else. And that's what he does for the Raptors. Also, that's right. Stargate saying Kawhi was actually trying to at times. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's the home crowd. In some ways, he's the star, all-star for the home team. It makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, I was impressed with some of the stuff Kawhi was doing out there, for sure. It's weird. He's just a weird guy, man. He's such a weird guy. Some of y'all were joking in the Discord last night that he must have heard us going off on him yesterday, and he's all pissed off. And that's why he came out there and did that. I don't know. That 31 was impressive. That really was. And he totally killed the world team. I mean, what's the symbolism of that? You said no to Canada, and now you're beating the world team, Kawhi Leonard? What is going on here? G's saying Nikola and Luka, with all due respect, may need to sit all-star out and let others take their spots. They don't care. And with injury management, they put their team at a big disadvantage. Yeah, that's on the down low. Like, even with Collins' team on the Rising Stars, with Collins showing up, just getting the appearance and sitting out, that on the down low does hurt those teams because that's an extra roster spot that's not filled. And you're only playing with 7 guys on your team already. So Team Mello on Friday night was a 6-man roster, basically, because Murray-Boyles was not actually playing. So you can look at it this way. With the world team, they had 9 guys, but they really had 7. They really just had 7. 5 guys and 2 subs because Nikola and Luka are not really playing. They're not really playing. Yeah, let's see. Kesper's saying, unfortunately, BI didn't get much of a highlight reel. He was also unfortunately locked up a lot by Cade. Yeah, that was annoying. Brandon was trying to score at the basket, and Cade Cunningham blocked him. Yeah, he locked him up good. Yeah, it was annoying, man. We saw a little bit of Brandon out there with Kevin Durant, which is fun. You know what? Brandon's just happy to be back there. He's like one of these guys who's got such a weird span between his all-star appearances. 10 years, I think, or something like 8 years. 8 years since his first all-star. And now his second all-star 8 years later. So some ways he's just getting reacclimated to being back in the environment and with all those people. And well, if you make some more all-stars in the next couple of years, maybe we'll see him rise up and play really well in one of these all-star games and get more points, right? Fiercely saying LeBron stepped out real quick in the last game when he saw the train wreck coming. He didn't want no part of the massacre. Yeah, I don't like that term. We got to be – I don't like using violent terms for basketball anymore because I feel like we're teetering on the brink of a very violent society. And these kind of words hold a lot of weight. They really do. I wouldn't call it that. I just call it a blowout. It's a blowout. And that's what it was. I don't know if LeBron sat out because of that. It could be very well the same reasons why Luka and Nikola were out. It's because he's on the down low kind of hurt and they're already losing. I don't think it's because he's a coward. I think it's just because, you know what? This game's not going anywhere. And he's LeBron. He wants to sit out. He's going to sit out. Name was saying, say what you want about Kawhi. Hang on, it jumped ahead. Let me make sure I don't miss this. Say what you want about Kawhi. Where is Nameless? But the brother is a specimen. He's got muscles on top of muscles. Yeah. Yeah, he's looking buffer and bigger than ever right now. Yeah. I mean, the Clippers, they start in the cellar this year. They're in the play-in right now. They're on their way up, but I don't have any faith in them. And I think that all their recent movements, like letting Zubac go, is really weird, man. It's totally telling me that they're not trying to build to a championship right now. In some ways, it's a weird signal because it's like that was your dude to win the championship with because he was not broken. He fit with Kawhi and all these other guys, and he had been building chemistry with these guys. Shipping out your starting center to Indiana like that signaled to me that like they're going to a new era after Kawhi and everybody soon. And that, I don't know what's going to happen with him, but this is goofy, man. They're definitely not championship contenders this year. I don't think they are. First of all, because you can't trust the health of Kawhi. And second of all, they've downgraded their team. It's not as good as it was before the trade deadline. And they would have been better off with what they had already going forward and competing because it was working and going forward. We'll just have to see how their record is post All-Star and see where they land in the playoff seeding. If they're a playing team, they're not going to get anywhere. If they're in the playoffs, if they actually rise out of the play-in and they're in the playoffs, maybe they can do something. But I'm not going to believe in them. I'm not going to believe in them because Kawhi is not going to get another championship. I can bet you right now. Nako's saying, in all honesty, Scottie is a good enough personality to be the face of the NBA. Yeah, for sure. For sure. He's fun. He's smiley. His mantra is, I want to hug everybody. That's a great role model. That's a great role model, man. For sure. For sure. I'm all about that. Good to see you, Gerald. Nameless is saying Doncic and Joker were not allowed to play because they'd spoil the plot. No, they're on the down low, slightly hurt, and in some ways, Darko, this is an exhibition. Darko's got to talk to these guys. He's got to talk to their organizations and where they're at. It's just like with Team Carmelo saying, Collins' thumb's hurt. We don't really want you to play him. Just put him out there for a second. These are agreed upon ahead of time things. Nikola and Luka doing what they did yesterday. These are agreed upon, and they're usually agreed upon with the organization that they play for that has said that. Kessler was saying, kind of wish Team World won by like 1 or 2 points so they could say they won a game despite not advancing. Yeah, in some ways, this is the crazy thing. It's like USA's insecure. I'm just going to say this. Adam Silver, Team USA executives are insecure because they are reading the room. The world of basketball is catching up, and it's inevitable that some team out there is going to beat the Team USA at the Olympics, that the world stars are going to get better and better, and they're going to be more competing. And some people don't like that. They want to have this domination by USA. So in some ways, if you're a WWE scriptwriter and you're trying to book the match yesterday, the outcome of having USA versus USA is ideal for those rhetorics, right? So, you know what? In some ways, I don't take it seriously because once again, the best world players did not play. They did not play. So I wish the world had done better too. I wanted them to get the finals at least, but no, having both the USA teams beat them, well, that just gives more fuel to Gilbert Arenas and Jeff Teague for their bullshit, right? Right? G saying anyone with any ball IQ knows a healthy world team is lethal. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Giannis, it adds a whole other level of defense with Wemby. I mean, you're putting Giannis out there with Wemby. Just think about that. The defensive craziness of that. I mean, these are two of the top 5 defensive players in the league. Right there, Giannis and Wemby. And SGA is a whole other kind of weapon if you have him available for offense. He's just a whole other kind of weapon, man. Stargate saying Wemby should get the MVP regardless of the outcome because he was the most valuable player of the night. I would think of that. That's pretty good. I'd say that that's pretty good. Seriously. I'd say that's pretty good. Yeah. But, he didn't win. So that's not how it works. Anthony Edwards, he gets it. That's right. Nako's saying, Lex, can you do a sacrificial ritual at some point? I mean, I do stuff like this sometimes. I've done a new moon ritual. There's going to be a new moon tomorrow, guys, in the morning, first thing in the morning at 7 a.m. There's a new moon, and it's eclipse too. There's a lot of powerful things happening in the cosmos tomorrow. The thing about that eclipse tomorrow and that new moon is that it symbolizes the closing of a door and that we can never go back to the way it was. That there's a flip tomorrow, and I'm guessing it's AI. Like a lot of the things that we're talking about these days, and they're saying like in the stars and astrology, like we're going into new cycles. I'm I'm coupling it with AI because as AI changes and shapes our world will never go back to what it was. And that's the thing that scares the hell out of me is we need to have regulations and we need responsibility about how AI is utilized because once we open Pandora's box, this whole world's going to completely change and the world that we know will not exist anymore. And the world for the new for the people in the future is going to be shaped by now. So, oh man, talking about, on a new moon, what you do, Gerald, is you write stuff that you want to go away and you want to happen, and you burn the paper with the stuff that you want to let go of. So that's a sacrificial ritual, I guess. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow, but I'm not going to do it on this show. And the other thing is, when I tear up a classic card like a Goran Dragic, isn't that a sacrificial ritual? I don't even know why you brought this up. Why are you bringing up sacrificial ritual? Are you trying to out me as a pagan? Kaz is here. Good morning, Trucker Kaz. Good morning, Lex and Rat Freak Crew. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great Monday morning. And RJ Randolph is here. Randolph Phillips. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. Pressure and heat make diamonds. Yeah. If you are prepared and in the heat of life, it will make you shine like a diamond. Now you'll be valued by others. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is true. The going gets tough, the tough get going, Billy Ocean. In some ways, you don't really want a tough life, but if you have a tough life and you can be durable and get through it, man, it makes you tougher. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Blessings to the Phillips family, all the Rapper Freak families. That's right. Stargate saying tradition becomes our security. And when the mind is secure and it is in decay. Ooh, man, that's a deep one right there. That's another one from Jay Krishna. Wow. Yeah, that's a deep one. Tradition becomes our security. And when the mind is secure, it is in decay. That's the thing, man. Tradition, I don't know if we can hold on to it anymore. There's a lot of systems and a lot of things that are broken that aren't working. And the way we've traditionally done things, a lot of it's going to go out the window in the near future, guys. There's a lot that's gonna go out the window. I have foresight. I can tell the future a bit, and, like, society is gonna devolve a little bit, and we're gonna make up new rules soon, but it's gonna be kinda weird and crazy. I don't know. Tradition is something that is in trouble right now. Let's just put it that way, because the traditional systems are no longer working for people anymore, and changes need to be made. Kaz is saying Jalen Brown was chucking shots like he was Kobe last night. You are not him. Yeah, I mean, I saw him dunk a few times and stuff. I mean, everybody's shooting shots and taking shots. This didn't stand out to me in particular. Name was saying I'd hang with two ball guys in the mountains. You'd go to the monastery just like Victor Wembanyama to get like centered and meditate, try to achieve nirvana and try and get to a mindless place where you see all the answers. I've been there, guys. Seriously. I have cleared my mind completely at times, and I've seen the truth. And it's crazy. I'll tell you right now, the things that matter, that really matter in our life and who we are not what they told us what should matter. Let's just put it that way. Is what I would say. Nako's saying an Ant can be the villain of the league. Yeah, I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's right. That's not the right marketing. Now he had that role in that Adam Sandler movie with Wancho, and in some ways Kermit. Kermit was his character's name. Yeah, he was a villain in that movie, and maybe naturally he kind of comes about it, but that's not what they want to do because he's like the young USA star for Team USA, and in some ways, keeping up appearances, is USA going to be the heroes in the world anymore? Maybe that works if he's a villain because the USA is just villains under the White House and the people who are in charge. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think Dylan Brooks is the villain of the league. That's what I would say. Kessler was saying, honestly, the league's audience, at least online for sure, is mostly watched by villainous people. The only thing that's passed on to generations is not the love, ethics, and effort, but the dark ego. I don't know. That's what we got to fight against in some ways. There is love and light. Scott has it. Scott's friendships, Scott's love, and his hugs. He got to hug Tyrese Maxey this weekend. I don't know. I don't want to be so jaded and cynical to believe this. I want to I'm turning towards the positive, gentler side of the world. And I know that there's an aggressive, ugly, dark side also. And I'm not naive to think that that part isn't going to affect my life at some point. But I believe that in all things at all time and when they happen, I don't know, man. I want to believe this is better than this, Kespra. That we can instill new values in the next generations coming up through examples like the All-Star Game. Like maybe Victor is a good example for young people to show, be competitive, take things seriously, and go out there and give your best. It's really where you want to put your eyes on it, man. It's really where you want to put your eyes on it. Stargate saying, nah, it ain't have nothing to do with the Celtics Lakers rivalry. We all know why it was shut down. A pro-black event in Beverly Hills by an NBA player who's known to be pro-black. Yeah. I mean, it's fishy as hell. And I like Jaylen Brown. He's the only Celtic I really like. And in some ways, I like him as a personality outside the game and what he does in his everyday life. And this is just disheartening to hear in some ways. It's just disheartening to hear. FC Iron Man is saying, blessings, bro. Really enjoy your content. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for the subscription and thanks for the comment. And anytime, come on in here with your comments, whether it's a question or you have your own perspective and your own takes. This is the forum and the place to get them out here. So I appreciate that, man. W Stream, bro. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And thanks for joining. Isaac's saying March 1st, the Spurs play the Knicks. I bet Victor is going to go off and punish Cat. The world team needed Cat to step up his intensity so Pascal could confidently chase Kawhi and play the perimeter. There's a strange woman in my yard. Well, that was not the comment y'all thought that I would say right there. Who is that? I've never seen her before. And where is she going? Interesting. She's like walking through the alley near my house. It's not really an alley. It's a trail. That's weird, man. I've never seen that woman before. It's not often out here in the woods. You just see a strange woman walking through the woods near your house. All right, what was I talking about here? We're talking about Knicks and Spurs. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is Wemby going to target the guys who failed him on Team World? Maybe he has something a little extra against Portland next time he plays them because Denny didn't do his assignment. Maybe he comes at Cat. Maybe you're right. Neil's here. Good morning to Neil. Longtime Raptor freak. Thank you for supporting the channel, my guy. Tyrese Maxey has been showing signs of fatigue before All-Star, which is understandable considering his usage. Yeah, he was, his usage is really super high. I didn't realize he was like one of the top 3 scorers in the league. Like he is up there. He has a lot of points. And Nick Nurse overusing him. Yeah, I mean, whatever. He's a young guy. He has a lot of energy. It didn't seem like he was having that many problems in the All-Star game yesterday. It's not like he was on Team Stripes. Isaac saying, good on Victor. No way Team World loses with Victor and Giannis balancing the workload. USA got hot, and the world still had a chance to win. Show the importance of glue players like Scottie. Yeah, this is a good synopsis by Isaac Campbell. I like a lot of what you're saying here. I think this is all pretty apropos and on point right here. Neil's saying the All-Star tournament showcased more players. That is success when you have a league where LeBron is phasing out. Exposure is needed. It needs some tweaks. The more players you expose, the more you can build a plan B for when the Anthony Edwards or John Morants fuck up. It's not like there are more All-Stars in this All-Star game. It's the same amount of All-Stars if they just had 2 teams in a regular game. It's just they split them up into 3 teams. That's part of the CBA, right? The collective bargaining agreement. about how many all-stars the NBA has, and the players agree on this. I think they should go to 15. And part of it should be like you get a 15-man roster for both sides. So there's 30 all-stars, but there's no injury replacements. It's like out of those 15 guys you get on your team, you may have 3 of them that are out. So you have a full team of 12. You know what I mean? In some ways, we already kind of do this, but I think instead of having like the insult of being a replacement player, that you should just go and get the whole 15 right in the first batch. And then there's no weirdness like, oh, Trae Young, you're a replacement all-star once again. Shit like that. Like Brandon gets slighted because he's a replacement all-star. Just go get 30 guys from the start. And if there's 2 or 3 on each side that can't play because of injury, well, you're good because you've got a full roster already. And that way there's no sliding and there's no weirdness about, oh, you're a replacement. And if you don't make it, you don't make it. If you make it and you can't play, well, you got your spot. You're on the all-star team, but there's enough guys for the rest of the team that they will play. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Iron Man saying this, effort is given, man. And I think all-star game is supposed to be a day where all the best teams show up, team up and show the world how great of a basketball players they are, especially when paired together. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I mean, it's in some ways you see that Team Stripes team and you're like thinking about the Olympic team at France last year with LeBron and Kevin. Too bad Steph was hurt and he wasn't playing because it's kind of like that threesome is very iconic. There is a lot of cool kind of synergy. It's kind of fun to see, Pascal and Norman out there running around together again. It's kind of cool to see Siakam out there with Wemby. And like playing like, whoa, this is what it's like to play with Wemby. Is like Siakam's probably like, wow, I like having Wemby on my team. There is a lot of fun in that when you see the interesting matchups, Cade with Scottie again. That's fun. That's fun stuff. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, guys, and I'm gonna go and check out the up next games that was like rising next up game. Next up game. That's what it's called. G League next up game, where Elijah Martin and AJ Lawson participated in that earlier in the day. And they had that game on NBA TV. And it was a 4-team tournament. Once again, team black, team red, team white, team blue. And well, both Elijah and AJ's teams lost in the first round, and neither one played for the finals, which is annoying. This is annoying. The MVP of the up next G League tournament was James Akinjo of the Grand Rapids Gold, who is the guy who Elijah was fighting with, not really fighting, but jawing a lot and getting in each other's faces before the All-Star break. There was a game where these guys were really going at it. Elijah was talking major trash. Well, James Akinjo of the Grand Rapids Gold was the MVP for the G League All-Star Game yesterday. Yeah, the first game was red versus black, and AJ Lawson was featured in that one on the red team, and he was playing with Scal Labizier, Lester Quinones, and Kennedy Chandler, formerly of the Raptors 905. Lawson got 8 minutes in the game. He shot 3 for 6, 1 for 4 from 3. He was a -1 with 2 rebounds and 7 points. So AJ did get some points on the board in his game, but they were one and done. They played that game, they lost, and they were eliminated. After that, they lost to PBJ, Patrick Baldwin Jr. of the San Diego Clippers. Went off in this game, and he was 6 for 6 from the field with 10 points and 5 rebounds. 10 minutes, 13 points and 5 rebounds. 10 minutes, 13 points, 5 rebounds. So PBJ was the MVP of the first game. James Bouknight was also pretty good in there with 8 points. The Mexico City Capitan, James Bouknight. So yeah, that was the first game. Black beating red, and that was AJ Lawson's team, and they were out. They were out after that. In the second game, it was blue versus white, and that was Elijah Martin's team was blue against the white team. And well, Elijah got out there for 9 minutes. He was 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. He was a -12 with 2 rebounds. They were both offensive, an assist, 2 turnovers, and 3 points. So he hit a 3, and that's it for Elijah Martin. He was on a team with Rocco Zerkowski, the big Australian center, and Dink Pat and Sean East the second. And yeah, they lost. It wasn't even close. It was 37-25. They got blown out. And on the other side, the guys who are getting them, Marshawn Beauchamp, the nephew of Flavor Flav, went crazy for 14 points in 7 minutes on 6 of 8 shooting. They also got some help from Ethan Thompson and Chen Chi of the Chinese league came in and got some points too. So yeah, after that, the final was going to be white versus black, and black ended up winning it in the end, 31-29. And as I said, James Akinjo of Grand Rapids Gold was the MVP of the whole entire tournament. But yeah, not the best showing. AJ looked better. Elijah looked better. Honestly, Elijah did better on Friday night against the Rising Stars, which is a more illustrious, important event than he did yesterday. He didn't look as good yesterday on Team Blue, but on Friday night, Elijah Martin did way better on the big lights of the Friday night All-Star night. So yeah, it was interesting, man. It's very, very interesting. Yeah, Isaac Campbell saying this: Scottie and Pascal. Hang on, what did he say? Scottie and Pascal on the same team today would be dangerous. Yeah, I mean, there's so much love there. Let's go look at the Instagram stories because there's love to be found there. Jacoby Walters posting Kobe Bryant on his Instagram. It ain't hard to count my blessings, is what Kobe's saying there. Teresa Resch was at the All-Star game last night representing the Toronto Tempo. She was at the Intuit Dome in the arena watching USA versus the world. Jamal Shed and Jonathan Mobo are passing a picture around of Jacoby Walter wearing the WWE Raptors mask. And Jonathan asked Jamal Shed, what are we thinking here? And well, Shed answered, Nacho no libre. Nacho no libre. What is that? That's crazy, man. So yeah, Jonathan Mobo's on a beach in Florida, guys. I can see a beautiful blue beach where Jonathan Mobo has been hanging out. He's been in South Florida in his old stomping grounds. Serge Ibaka's release is out, y'all. You need to listen to the new Serge single. It's Remais en Question with L2B and Serge Ibaka. So get that on your streaming platforms. Go check out the latest banger from our 2019 champion, Original Man, Serge Ibaka. That's right. That's right. Serge is always styling and profiling. And where in the world is he? I have no idea. Maybe he was at All-Star last night. I can't tell. I cannot tell exactly where Serge is right now. He could be at All-Star. Jacoby Walters got an action shot on his other account. He's got a couple accounts here. AJ Lawson, him and Elijah at the G League All-Star Next Man Up game. Yep, wearing their jerseys. It was a tough game for them. They did what they could. Proud of you is what someone Coach Gator saying. Proud of you to Elijah or to AJ. And AJ's posting Scottie's press conference where he's mentioned how the Raptors were running deep at All-Star this weekend. I looked at it, and actually, the Raptors had a good representation at the All-Star weekend, but the Spurs actually had more people involved than we did. So actually, I think the Spurs beat us for most people involved at the All-Star. We were second, but I think the Spurs beat us because of people like Carter Bryant, Dylan Harper, Steph Castle. They had 2 All-Stars, and their coach coached also. So they had Mitch Johnson, Victor, De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Steph Castle, Carter Bryant, and also they had David Allen Garcia or whatever. He was on the G League team too. So they technically had more representation than the Raptors. We were second, though. I don't think anybody else had more after that. There's Jay Simpson with a picture of Scottie on the court at the All-Star. So his friend Jay Simpson was right there with him. So was Lloyd. He was in the building last night, too. Oshai saying happy birthday to his mom. There's a really cute picture of Oshai Abaji as a child with his mother. I guess it's her birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to Oshai Abaji's mother. Yeah, there's Lloyd in the arena at the Intuit Dome last night. Colin Murray-Boyles back in University of South Carolina as of yesterday. And he went to practice with his old team. He was at Gamecock practice yesterday, passing down knowledge and wisdom to the young players that are on his alma mater at South Carolina still. So Colin Murray-Boyles coming to practice and passing it down. Let's see what else we got in the Instagram. Let's see. Morris Peterson with a friend. Let's see. Elijah Martin with him and AJ Lawson at the G League game. Let's see. There's Mercedes out taking the dogs for a walk. They're out in the sunshine. Her and Mamu getting some nice days off. Of course, Colin said he wasn't going to stick around for the All-Star game. He went home. But yeah, Scottie's going home today. Went to home like I don't know if he means Toronto or Florida, but either way, they're getting a couple more days off. The Raptors will be back in action on Thursday. Yeah, Sandro's out on the bikes and riding around with Mercedes. And they're on a boat too. They're on bikes and cars and on boats. Norman Powell had a great All-Star weekend. All kinds of fun stuff there. Just living the dream is what he's saying. There he's arriving for his first All-Star game in a red suit. So special and so important. His life is just a dream right now with the birth of his first child, and then also having All-Star and all kinds of great things happening for Norman Powell. Very, very cool. Check that off the list, Norm. And there he is with his mother hugging his mom, Norm and Mama Powell. Just good stuff all around. You got to love it, man. There he is with Bella on the plane. Just good stuff for Norman. So happy. Here's his baby with a little snuggly on that says, "My daddy is an all-star." That is pretty cool. You keep living the dream, Norman Powell. So, so good. There's Scottie's Instagram, getting interviewed by Kayla Gray at the practice with Kay Cunningham, just enjoying, soaking it up, being another all-star, two-time all-star, Scottie Barnes. Gonna have way, way more coming in the future too. Watch. He will. That's right. And there he is with Brandon Ingram and him getting their introduction. So Scottie Barnes and Brandon getting their introductions as Raptors and All-Stars. Good, good stuff around all there. Let's see. What else is the Instagram? We got RJ Barrett, who's at a Puma event. And there's a really cool muscle car behind him. Very, very cool. Where are you? Are you in Toronto still in this picture? I'm not totally sure where RJ is. He may have been in LA for this. Let's see. Ingram is posted. He has a new commercial, guys. Brandon Ingram has a new commercial for Hellman's mayonnaise, and he's in the Raptors red jersey, and he's playing against the squeeze bottles of mayonnaise, and he's dunking on them. It's pretty goofy, man. It's very, very goofy. He's playing against mayonnaise, and he's kicking the mayonnaise's butt. So, yeah, that's what's going on with Brandon. He's in there, and there's a picture of him with Glorilla on Valentine's Day with lots of Valentine's balloons. Oh, look at that sweet, lovely photo of them. Let's see. Andrew Jones is with the fam out there with Elijah Martin's family, too. And proud of AJ and Elijah for the work they put in yesterday at the G League All-Star Game. And his words of wisdom today, Corinthians 16:14, let all that you do be done in love. I like that. I like that, especially in the world today. We need everybody out there doing things in the name of love. That's right. Let's see. What else? Andrew Jones is very happy. He got a basketball signed with a lot of the world stars from the All-Star team. Very, very cool. I'm sure there's like Nicola and Luca and all kinds of people on there. Yeah, Andrew's son living his best life. Very, very cool. They also, Coach Wade was really awesome and got Ava Jones, to meet Kat. This is a pretty cool little thing right here where Kat is meeting with Andrew Jones's daughter, Heidi, and Coco Wade was introducing them. So I guess she was a fan of Kat, and that's why that's such a big deal. All right, there's your Instagram stories for today. All-Star Fallout, All-Star Weekend. That's right, All-Star Weekend. That's right. Neil saying LeBron is 40-ish. He has to be conservative with his court time. It's the best course of action for his career. Yeah, I'm not judging LeBron for anything. I feel like we got a good dose of LeBron in this All-Star game, more than some of the recent years of All-Star, where he's been an All-Star by word only, but not really by action on the court. So we did get LeBron out there in the game and playing and mixing it up. So that I'll take that. Because there's been years where he's gotten it, he doesn't play, right? So this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Iron Man saying the kids were excited to see Scottie. Yeah. Yeah, Scottie's fun, man. Scottie's fun. In some ways, he's a very kid-friendly face of the league. He cares about kids. And I know, we have Raptor freaks that have seen him out in the city with their kids, and he's been so kind and generous with his time, where he'll just take a picture with, Edmund saw him just one day walking his dog, and he was out with his two boys, and Scottie stopped and took a picture with them in a moment in his private life. It's not at an event or anything. Scottie's out walking CC and Cardi. And Edmund and his boys, this is like 3 years ago. This is a couple years ago. But Scotty told us this on Twitch when we were watching him playing the video games after his rookie year. He said, "Listen, if you're an adult, don't approach me. I don't want to talk to you. But if you're a kid and you see me out, I will stop and take pictures with you." So that's kind of a rule of thumb with Scotty. It's like if you see him out in public, respect his privacy. Unless you have a kid with you, you can go talk to him, and he'll take a picture with the kids because he's always about giving back to the children. That's a big deal to Scott. Stargate saying, I hear you with the use of certain words thing, Lex. Even in basketball terminology, words like elite and generational are thrown around way too casually. I feel like we got to understand the power of words more in this world of misinformation. We've got so many people trying to mislead people. And in some ways, words have such power in their meaning and their root and where they come from and etymology of like vocabulary and like the Greek roots and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot to it. And I don't know. I just don't want our society to become desensitized to violence. And we have to a degree by TV and movies and media. And it's just, we got to realize there's the real world and there's the fantasy world. And you don't want that fantasy world that's dark and crazy to become the real world. And most people don't understand the reality of that dark shit and the reality of life. You can go talk to Palestinians in Gaza, they'll tell you what it's all about. You can talk to people in Ukraine that have had their village invaded by Russian troops. They can tell you about it. Nobody wants this shit. So, as they say, don't speak into existence things you don't want. And that's why I'm radically changing my vocabulary and my mindset to a positive outlook that we're going to get this world right and we're going to defeat evil and we're going to get everything going in the right way. That's where I'm speaking into existence because we got to be careful, man. We could go a lot of different ways right now. And in some ways, we want the future that's best for all of us, right? And we don't want a future decided by just a handful of billionaires. That's the problem that's coming up that we need to fix right here. That's it. That's it. Neil's saying Maxey and Scottie would be dangerous, or Booker and Scottie would be dangerous. You mean on the same team? Quickly and Scottie. Quickly and Scottie are dangerous. Barrett and Scottie are dangerous. Yeah. Stop looking at other people's yards and saying, I wish we had what they have. Keeping up with the Joneses. No. We've got our Quickly. We don't need a Maxey. And we don't need Booker either. We got Barrett. That's what I say right there. Yeah. Fiercely saying this. Saw a video showing flashing lights and seats to make it look like there were people in the arena during the Rising Stars event. Also, ticket prices were extremely high and because of the Olympics. The events took place earlier than usual. All-Star Game on Sunday at 5 p.m. That's interesting. So I didn't know that. Fiercely, I'm going to give you a dunk. So you're saying that they started all the All-Star events this weekend because NBC was also covering the Olympics and they had to make it all fit together. That makes a lot more sense because I was wondering why All-Star Saturday night got done at 8 p.m. 27 on the dunk chart for Fiercey for information. Yeah, the whole gimmick about lighting up the Intuit Dome with all those lights, in some ways it was good because it filled the arena, but it also kind of gave away just how empty the arena was. Now, I can understand the arena being empty for Friday night and the Rising Stars Challenge. I can understand the arena being somewhat empty for the first part of the Saturday night, but not for the dunk championship. That place should have been full, and that should have been a hot ticket, right? In the past, that's the way it was. But for the All-Star Game on Sunday, the arena still being half empty. This is bad, man. I don't know if Steve Ballmer cared about that. And some ways it's like, the arena is great. We have a bathroom for every single one. Actually, we have 2 bathrooms for each person that comes here because that's just how we built it. I don't know. It's weird, man. In some ways, why was it so empty this weekend? Why was it? Seriously, were the prices of the tickets crazy? Was Steve Ballmer crazy? And like, yeah, people aren't going to pay that for this. They think the All-Star Weekend's garbage. It's not been that good. Why would they pay $200 to go to it? Was it just priced out? What was wrong with that? In some ways, once again, NBA, you want it to look good, right? You want it to be filled because it don't look good if it's empty. It starts looking like a Trump rally. And in some ways, it's like, look, you wanted to look good, Adam Silver. Maybe you needed to drop those prices and make it a little more affordable for people to go to the All-Star weekend, just because you need bodies in their audience to make it look like it's successful. Because it didn't look successful for that. That's for sure. That's for sure. Iron Man saying this. One thing I know is deep down, a lot of these guys don't like Wemby because he shows them up. Well, I don't know if they don't like him. It may be all right. There's a couple of different things here. You got Wemby's personality is like Joakim Noah's, like Giannis's. He's a competitor. He's not trying to make friends with everybody. In some ways, that could be standoffish to people because they're like, oh, yeah, he thinks he's better than us. He doesn't want to be friends. Well, he's a competitor of yours. And in some ways, to keep a competitive edge, he doesn't want to be your friend. And I get that. Larry Bird was like that too. He's not trying to make friends with everybody around the league like Vince Carter. No. In some ways, I respect that more, that mentality, like Charles Barkley, like Larry Bird, like Victor Wembanyama. Then let's be all friends and like, oh, we're all a good fraternity of basketball players, and we're the NBA family is the most important family, not the family of my team, the Spurs. So I think that's part of it. I think also that the fact that he's 7'5" and he embarrasses people is part of it too. You go down the lane, you think you got it, and Wemby's like, no, you don't. And there was some of those blocks yesterday were like that, where it's like, oh, he would have had that, but no, Wemby's there, and he got him. And I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it. Maybe some of them were mad at him because they're like, we're supposed to be on break on the All-Star break. You're making us work, Wemby, because you're trying. Come on, man. Stop trying. Maybe these are the people that were ruining the All-Star game for years that are mad at Wemby, right? Let's just take a poll. Let's have an exit interview with all the All-Stars. Do you like Wemby or not? I hate him, man. Oh, okay, this is one of the guys that was ruining the All-Star game. We can find out. This is how we can figure it out. I don't know, man. I don't know. I bet you're right, though. Some people don't like Wemby, but some of them probably, it's not that they don't like him. They respect him because you better respect Wemby. That's like the rules. You got to respect Wemby. You come into that side of the court and he's coming and he's on that side. You better respect him because he will block your shit. But I don't know. I don't know if they hate him. I don't know if they don't like him, but they damn for sure respect him. Yeah, that's what I said. Not gonna say you were talking about rituals. Rituals. Yeah, rituals. I mean, I'm kind of a schedule guy. I like to do things the same way almost every day. It's like there's every kind of ritual. You have your bathroom ritual. You wake up, and these are your rituals in the morning that you do in the bathroom. Some of this is TMI. We don't need to talk about. Jamil Joseph, good morning to you, sir. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the subscription. This is Jam Jaws. That's who this is. That's right. I know this is Jam Jaws. This was the best national anthem I ever heard. I'm Canadian, but for some reason, when I was hearing Brandy, my eyes seemed watery, not wet, just a little watery. It's the frequency or something. You know what she did? She did something amazing. And you're right. That Brandy national anthem for the U.S. was top notch. I mean, we'll start with Sarah McLachlan. You have two pop stars that aren't really in their prime. They're from a few years ago, and they both came out, but they're names and they're icons to a degree. And Sarah McLachlan did a very, very standard Canadian anthem, was very beautiful. She gave it the proper respect and the proper energy, and was just awesome. And then Brandy came out with like these other women that were dressed like her, and they did kind of a doo-wop kind of like harmonizing version of the American anthem. The thing that she did that was so, because this is another thing of my expertise. I know basketball, I know wrestling, I know music, and I know singing. What they did was she did a really interesting thing where she didn't sing some of the lyrics. She let the background singers sing some of the lyrics, and she did a softer version of the UNES anthem. In some ways, it would infuriate some people. Some Americans would see that and they'd be like, "Why is she pussifying our like anthem?" They want to hear the bombs bursting in air and all that kind of bullshit. They want to hear the violence of the song. And well, Brandy, I guess, feeling the pulse of America right now and where it's at, was like, I want to mute this a little bit and make this a little more tender and make this a little bit more humanistic. And it was beautiful. You're exactly right, Jam Joss. She did an amazing job. I'd never seen somebody do the American anthem like that ever. But in some ways, it's a sign of the times. It's a it's a kind of like her as an artist expressing her feelings about the current state of things through her rendition. And it was, oh man, it was beautiful. You weren't wrong, man. I had a little bit of teary eye too from that. And I listen, I'm dual citizen. I'm Canadian and American. I mean, I'm at least American for now until Trump kicks me out, but I don't care if he does or not. But in some ways, it did hit my heartstrings too. And I think that that was such a wise, artistic, genius decision by Brandy, the recording artist, to do the American anthem like she did that way. So certain people were going pissed off about how she did it. But honestly, there was such a poignancy and such a feel to it that was just top notch. Of course, seeing President Obama there was a big deal. In some ways, I wanted him to just take the mic and just start cussing Donald Trump, but he's not going to do that. In some ways, this is not the time or place, and this decorum, and he's not stooping to bullshit like replying to an idiot that made a racist post on Twitter about him and his wife. In some ways, seeing the Obamas at the front court of the game was special. Seeing them with Dr. J and Oscar Robertson, and man, Obama, if he's anyway, I don't want to go too far on this. In some ways, it was nice to see President Obama there. Seriously, it was nice to see him there. UC's here. Good morning, Raptors gang. Good morning to you, UC. Coming to Toronto very soon to come to the games. It's gonna be fun. Neil's saying the world is already running amok due to corporations manipulating economies. Who's running AI? The corporations. They're expanding their domination. Don't fear AI, fear the corporations. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with anything you're saying there, Neil. And that's why I'm saying, that's why leaders like Bernie Sanders are saying that we cannot have AI and all the windfalls and the profits and the things from it go to just a select few. And then we're running the world in some sort of weird ass place. The big problem with AI is it enables a surveillance state. And that's what we don't want. Do y'all want to be watched all the time? Do y'all want to be nitpicked? Do you want to be like at a point where nobody can get away with anything because everything is like a nitpicky little thing and they will come and get you immediately if you do anything wrong? That's not a world that anybody wants to live in, a surveillance state. And that's why there needs to be regulations and there needs to be freedom instilled in legislation that has to do with AI. This is very, very important. It's extremely important. If this stuff isn't set up correctly in the right way with the laws, the future in a lot of ways is going to be really messed up and distorted and perverted into a really dystopian place. And we don't want that. I don't think any of us want this. Do you want people watching you all the time? I mean, they already do on the down low and you don't even know it. But are they going to watch you and make actions because of what you do at some point? That's the problem right there that we need to all be worried about and cautious about. That's right. Neil's saying corporations have taken over farming and water distribution. Do you realize you pay more for what we think is good water than gas? Yeah, that's part of the thing that's crazy is the commoditizing of natural resources. Water should be a God-given right because it naturally is available on this world for everybody. And who's to say you own that fucking water? Seriously. There's all kinds of problems with this kind of stuff. That's why I'm saying a lot of the systems are outdated and outmoded, and they're going to have to be changed. When we change the systems, do we want the systems to work for the majority of the people or for just a small minority? That's what we have to ask ourselves. That's what we have to figure out. That's why we have to get a hold of our governments and make sure that our governments are working for the people and not for the corporations, because that's what they are doing right now. And that's why part of it's broken. That's why it's broken right there, man. Right there. UC saying, so glad I found this channel like a few years ago, 2 ago. Wouldn't have thought that I'd be seeing Wemby just 2 years ago without getting hype from this channel throughout the seasons. Yeah, it's so awesome. You're going to get to see Wembanyama in person. Hopefully he'll play. I've tried to go see Wemby a couple times with Spurs games. I finally saw him last year successfully when I went to the Raptors Spurs game at the end of the year. I think he was playing. Maybe he wasn't. He may have been shut down by then. I don't even know if I've seen Wemby live yet. I've tried to go to the Spurs game the last couple of years, but he's a scratch, I think, when I've gone to see him. So I don't know if I have actually seen him live yet. I went to the Spurs game last year, but I think he was shut down for the season already by then, and I didn't actually get to see him. Yeah, I hope you get to see him, and I'm sure you will. Iron Man saying, loving how Norman Powell put Jamaica on the world stage. I'm a Jamaican boy, and I know that representation is worth, especially after what the country been through with the hurricane this year. Yeah, yeah, what the hurricane with the hurricane. Yeah, yeah, Norman's awesome, man. Norman's easy going. In some ways, it's like no skin off his back. You want me to represent USA? You want me to represent Jamaica? Either one, it's all good. I think that they can only get away with putting Cat and Norman on the world team because those guys actually play for those teams. If Cat was doing like what Joel Embiid's doing, he's playing for USA, putting him on the world team would be stupid, because he plays for Team USA in the Olympics, but no, he plays for Dominican Republic, so they can put him on the world team. I still think it's a cheap way. They're stealing spots away from good international players that could have been there. People like Laurie Markkinen, Dylan Brooks, Josh Giddey, RJ Barrett. There's enough good international players that they could have replaced guys that were out like Giannis and SGA with actual international players and not Americans playing for international teams. It's weird, man. It's weird, but this is great. Yeah. And Jamaica's on the rise, man. I watched Norman play for Jamaica last summer in the qualifiers and AmeriCup stuff. And he was fantastic. And he is bringing that program up. I don't know how much Jamaica's had success in the FIBA World Basketball stage, but Norman's bringing them there. And especially if the Thompson twins show up too. And Scottie's not going to come there. He's not going to play for Jamaica, even though they've asked him, and he could do it. He wants USA. He wants USA. This is the other thing. Last night they're talking about who's going to be carrying USA after Durant and James and all them retire, Steph Curry, and they're bringing up Chet Holmgren and Anthony Edwards, but they just gloss over Scottie. Well, you know what? I would say this to Grant Hill and Team USA. If y'all don't put Scottie on Team USA, that's your own damn fault. You're idiots. If you don't take the extremely good, incredible two-way talent of Scottie Barnes and put him on Team USA in the next cycle, you guys are idiots. If you pick Paulo Banchero over Scottie Barnes for Team USA, you guys are idiots. I'm just going to say it over and over again, Grant Hill. So don't diss Scottie for Team USA just because he plays for Toronto Raptors. Put him on Team USA. He deserves it. He's one of the best American players in the world. And if you don't do it, shame on you. That's your own failure. Seriously, that's their own failure for that, man. Kesra's saying this. There was also a take on the Athletic that they started earlier so that it could attract viewers in Europe since they're rumored to expand to that market. It would be around midnight in Europe when it's 5 p.m. here so they can get them to stay up and watch the players and product. That makes sense. So they're trying to find the sweet spot globally for putting the All-Star game on, not just with the Olympics in mind, but also that they want to keep it early enough so that people can watch it in Europe. That makes sense. That makes sense what Kesper's saying, which is ironic because most of the Europeans didn't exactly play. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Sengun was out there a bit, but that's it, really. The other guys were all from other places, right? For the most part. Let's see. UC saying Wemby getting asked this weekend if he'll shed a tear when Braun retires was wild, and he straight up said no. Yeah, he's a real one, man. Honestly, he's becoming one of my favorite players in the league. It's not just because he plays for my Western team, the Spurs. It's just his personality. I like him anyway. I think if he was on another team, I would probably get behind him anyway because he stands for a lot of things I stand for. And in some ways, it's like him being real like that and being like, yeah, I don't care. That's cool in some ways. All right, y'all, straight goods on Canadian goods. Today, I'm going to talk about energy. We're going to talk about Pioneer Petroleum. Pioneer gas stations are a Canadian gas station. You're getting gas from our country. You're getting gas from a Canadian company. All profits for Pioneer stay here in Canada for the most part. So if you're buying gas, make sure you're buying from a good oil company. And I'd say Petro-Canada is great. They're fine. That is a Canadian company. But Pioneer and Ultramar are great gas stations also. So if you need to fill up at a Canadian gas station. And no more Esso, no more Shell, no more American or international gas companies. go to Pioneer, Ultramar, or Petro Canada. These are the ones right there. Those are the best companies you can go to get your gas in Canada right now. If you're out west, Husky is good out in Alberta also. So if you see a Husky, just as long as it's not an Esso Husky, don't go to that one. That's right. All right, let me keep going. Guys, we have some birthdays today. Or wait, let's do the Raptors Redditor of the day. Let's find the person on Reddit that is absolutely a winner and somebody who's awesome. Today we are going to find our Raptor Redditor of the day is no. Let's see. Okay, here we go. That was from 8 days ago. We want the most recent. Where's the tab that says new? New. All right, here we go. All right. You know what? We're gonna give the Raptors Redditor of the day to Absolute Chaos. He has posted, or they have posted, the champ is here, All-Star Edition, and they've got a great picture of Scottie holding the Champions Trophy and smiling. So that's a nice positive post about Scottie Barnes and his success at the All-Star Game last year. So there you go. Our Raptors Redditor of the day is Absolute Chaos. Good job. Happy birthday to Craig Neal. Craig Neal is a former assistant coach for the Toronto Raptors in the years 2000 to 2003. Craig Neal is turning 62 today. He is from Muncie, Indiana. He is still with us, thankfully, and he currently is the associate head coach of Nevada. He's been there for 6 years. So happy birthday to former assistant coach Craig Neal. He was under Lenny Wilkins when he was the coach. So yeah, he's coached our summer league team for 3 years. Craig Neal did, just so you know, guys. Yeah, so happy birthday to him. Also, a happy birthday to Herb Williams. Herb Williams was an original Raptor in our first year. We traded to get him. He showed up on our team near the end of the first season of the Raptors history. But yeah, Herb Williams out of Columbus, Ohio, has turned 68 today. So happy birthday to Herb Williams. He played 1 year for the Raptors. He played one game for us, and he scored 6 points in that one game. He played 31 minutes in that one game and scored 6 points. So he's only one game Raptor, Herb Williams. I don't even know I put him on there. He's technically a Raptor. And happy birthday to Team Canada head coach Gordon Hebert. Gordy Hebert is his birthday today. 67 years old for Gordon out of BC. He's, of course, Canadian and Finnish. He was the coach of Germany. The team coach of Germany's team for a long time with Dennis Schroeder and everybody. He's also been the coach of Bayern Munich. I think that he was the coach of Serge Ibaka on that team in recent years. But now he is the current head coach of Team Canada, and he'll be coaching SGA, RJ Barrett, Jamal Murray, and Dylan Brooks in the next 4 years for Team Canada. So we want to say a big happy birthday to Team Canada coach Gordon Hebert. His birthday is today. That's right. There you go. There's your birthdays, your Raptor birthdays for the day right there. Craig Neal, Herb Williams, and Gordon Hebert. Any breaking news on the wire today about the Raptors? Nope, don't see anything there right there. All right, let's do the classic card, and we'll get done in 2 hours, which is good. Yeah, I could get better. I'm like, that's not that interesting. Okay, yeah, we'll do this one. This one's tough. This one's tough. And it kind of has a connection to our team. All right, here we go. Classic card of the day. It is classic. This is an old card. This is a very old card. And if you can figure out who this Celtic is, you'll get the classic card points. It's tough, man. It's not that easy. Who is that? He kind of looks like Oshai a little bit in the face there. But that's not Oshai. Who's that big player in the front there? That looks like a 0. I think that could tell you what era this is, if you can tell who that big player is with the 0. And the other player is, I'm not even sure who that is. That's a tough player, number 31, to figure out. Let's see. Too young to know who he is. Yeah, this is a card from the 90s. This is definitely an old card. This is a 30-year-old card. So in some ways, people are going to get this. I'll say this. This man who's on this card has been employed by the Toronto Raptors, and he is still employed by the Toronto Raptors, I believe. He may not be still employed by them, Last time I checked, he was, but maybe he isn't. Not totally sure. That should be a good clue for people that watch the channel and know about a former Celtic that's actually working for the Raptors now. If you can figure that out. But yeah, this is a tough one, man. This is a very tough one. This is not a very well known player in some ways. I would say this guy is employed on the Raptors as a scout. That's right. How about that? He was employed on the Raptors as a scout, and I don't know if he's still doing it. For some reason, I feel like he's still doing it. Let me go look him up real quick and see if he is still currently working for us because that might give it away if I tell you guys, because some of y'all may know about this guy because of me talking about him working for us. So let's see. It says on the last thing that he's still working as a scout for us. So who knows if he is actually still doing it, but it seems like he is. Yeah, it says he currently is a scout with the Toronto Raptors on his Wikipedia. There you go. Slug DZ remembers who it is. It's Kevin Gamble. Kevin Gamble is the name. He took the gamble. It's Kevin Gamble. Kevin Gamble was hired by the Raptors in 2018 as a scout, and he's still currently working for us. So yeah, the card is Kevin Gamble. The back looks like a Cheetos bag. Like Cheeto bag. Gamble's 10 assists and his triple-double tied a career high. He had a triple-double? That's crazy. There it is. On March the 16th, 1993 against Golden State, Kevin Gamble got 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 rebounds and 10 assists. That's pretty crazy, man. All right, this is a tough card, and it doesn't look that clear on the card. So I'm going to give 200 points to Slug DZ for today's card. Yeah, that's pretty tough because, like, his face didn't look right. And Slug DZ's got 3 in a row now. Look at that. He's got a 3 in a row for this, and he built it up to 50 to 100 to a 200. Yeah, that's not an easy classic card. So good job, man. Was a triple-double more impressive in the 90s? I think a triple-double is still impressive. I think it's the same level of impressive. I think that we get jaded by Nikola and maybe Russell. Russell averaged almost a triple-double in the last few years. Like, not in the last few years, but for a couple years there. That is really special. And in some ways, that's part of the reason why Russell Westbrook is such an amazing player in the history of the NBA. I don't think anything else is important. I think that the fact that Russell Westbrook was one of the few guys like Oscar Robertson that could average a triple-double for a whole season, that is amazing. Yeah, I mean, they get watered down. Maybe people don't take them as seriously. I think triple doubles are very, very valuable today, just as much as they were back then. You know, the guys who were getting triple doubles back then maybe didn't vary as much because there wasn't as much of a vast skill set for players. There were more role players and more guys that were just set up as rebounders, or I'm just a point guard and I just give assists. You know, the guys who were getting triple doubles back then were people like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Dominique Wilkins. You know, these guys were getting triple doubles because they had the capacity to get the assists along with the rebounds. But I guess triple doubles maybe are a little bit more prevalent now because of the skill talent of common NBA players is higher and more all round. And that's really the big difference between the eras is that you had a certain percentage of the NBA players were role players that really just had a couple of jobs they did. But in today's NBA, most players are all around players and they have to do everything, the best players. So that's the big difference, I think, right there. Right there. You see, 3 players have only done it for a whole season in almost 80 years of play. So I get it. Yeah. Yeah, and Russell and Oscar are the 2. I don't know who the other one is. Who's the other one? Who's the 3rd one you see? I would think maybe it's like, because yeah, Oscar Robertson, he did it and Russell did it. And I'm not even sure who the other person is that actually averaged a triple-double. Maybe it's Jokic. Did Jokic average a triple-double? Yeah, Jokic. Okay, cool. Yeah, all right, I know my stuff. All right, thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. Reaction to All-Star Sunday and the team stars win. Anthony Edwards MVP, Scottie Barnes shining as a glue guy and helping them to win with effort. Just like Victor saved the All-Star game, Scottie would reinforce saving the All-Star game by matching his energy and his competitiveness on the court when he was out there for team stars. So yeah, the baton has been passed. The stripes are old, and the stars are ready to take over and take the league now. I think that's the symbolism of what happened yesterday. I think in some ways the world didn't really get a true chance to compete with the main players being out. SGA, Giannis, Nikola, and Luca really not playing. And so it was really hard to gauge world versus USA properly because of those absences. So, well, if they do another world versus USA, I'd like to see it 15 versus 15 split down the middle. And if you really have to put Norman and Cat on the team world for a 15-man roster, I'm okay with it. It's just I want to get away from these tournaments and I want to have just a regular 4-quarter, 12-minute quarter game. You know, the format didn't save the All-Star game. Wemby saved it just from his energy and his trying. The format is not what got them to compete. So East versus West, even SGA said this yesterday in the media scrum. He said, I don't know about this format. Next year, if we do East versus West, that's probably best. Is what Gilgeous Alexander said. So it's very interesting, man. Yeah, last season, Jokic averaged triple-double. Okay, great stream. Good game. All right, good game. And come to Toronto and go to the games very soon. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream. Y'all have a great Monday. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for Tuesday trivia. Be ready with your trivia caps. I'm going to write the trivia this afternoon. And, well, I'm not going to tell you what the trivia is going to be on. So be ready. Just have fun and come in and we'll play some Tuesday trivia. Raptor Freak Tuesday trivia, 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. Not taking a day off. It's the All-Star break. The team's off doing their fun in the sun. Well, Lex is still grinding it out here. And as he does 365 days a year. So, yeah, Tuesday trivia tomorrow. I hope you'll come play with and take the questions and then learn something from the Tuesday trivia. Thank you, Kaz. I appreciate the W's. And W. Wemby, I am a fan. There you go. There you go, Isaac. And thank you for the 5 Lexus right there. Let's go, Raptors. Let's go, Toronto Tempo. Let's go, Raptors 905. Let's go, Team Canada Basketball. Happy birthday, Gordy Bear. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go, Raptors.